There's a definite shift in the seasons. The cool mornings, the long shadows of the sun in the late afternoons, seed pods ready to burst, leaves turning to crimson, gold, and rust. Welcome back, friends. It's Megan from A Seasonal Abode. It's mid-October here, and I am gardening in Zone 6A, Southern Ontario, Canada. So today we are going to be planting some bulbs for the spring. So I have some tulip bulbs as well as daffodil bulbs. So I'm going to be sharing those varieties with you today. We're going to get to planting them in this new garden that we put in this spring. It's going to be super exciting to see that come spring. This week I've been doing a lot of spreading mulch and just preparing for the winter months coming ahead. The temperatures have dropped quite a bit this past week. So let's get to showing you those bulbs. So I was super excited to find a local grower that was selling spring bulbs for a discounted price this fall. So I picked up a small box load full of bulbs that I hope to add into this garden that is directly behind me that we planted up together this spring. So that come spring, it's going to be a riot of color here in front of the kitchen garden. It's going to be super exciting. So right now I'm going to go over the bulbs that I picked out to plant and add into this garden. So I'm going to be posting a picture up on the screen so that you can see better the details of the bulbs that I chose. So the first bulb that I chose is a tulip. It is called Apricot Pride. It's a Darwin hybrid tulip. Just a standard tulip here. It has a beautiful pinky blushy color. I think that will be beautiful in the spring because I'm going to be pairing it with Queen of the Night tulip. I don't have a picture here of the Queen of the Night tulip, but I will insert a picture up on the screen. It is a dark, almost black, purpley tulip. And I think that the color side by side is going to look stunning here in the spring. So we're going to have the blushy pink tulip paired with the dark night, Queen of the Night. And I'm going to mix all my bulbs together before I plant them so that in the spring they will come up side by side and it'll look like it has been naturalized there in the ground. The last bulbs that I am adding into this garden are narcissus or daffodils. I picked up 25 Mount Hood daffodils to add into this border here at the front. So I'm super excited to get into that. Today I think what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be edging along the bit of the garden. We need to pick up some gas to mow this grass here, so that's not going to be getting done. But that's okay. We're just going to get right into the garden here and start figuring out where we want to have the bulbs come spring. I did want to quickly say before I get to the planting that I picked up 25 of the Apricot Pride tulips, 25 of the Queen of the Night tulips, and 25 of the Mount Hood daffodils. What I'm going to be doing is I'm probably going to be planting them in clusters of odd numbers. So I'm probably going to be doing like 5 to 7 tulips in a clump and mixing the dark Queen of the Night with the Apricot Pride and then planting those together in a clump of 7. Going a little bit further, doing another clump of 7, and then the daffodils, I'm just going to kind of make a little bit of a wave around the tulips, and that's how I'm going to be planting them. So just kind of showing you how I'm laying out the bulbs here. It turns out that 50 bulbs of tulips doesn't get you very far in a brand new garden like this. So I basically took the 50 and I split them in half. I put 25 on this side, 25 on that side. It is a mixture of half of the Apricot Pride and the Queen of the Night tulip. Kind of just mix them. You can see that they're a little bit different in how they look here. So this one here would be the Apricot Pride, and these bigger ones here are the Queen of the Nights. So here we have a cluster of the tulips. Then I came in with the daffodils, kind of swooping up here, going in a wave around the tulips like that. And then I have another tulip cluster and then another tulip cluster. And I'm going to be repeating this process on the other side of the garden as well. So each of these little clusters here of odd tulip are a mix of the apricot pride tulips with the queen of the night in odd numbers. And then I've gone through with a swale kind of the Mount Hood daffodils. I think that will be very pretty come spring. Just a quick little fun fact. My family is originally from the Netherlands, so planting tulips is always kind of special for me. So I did want to quickly explain the heights of the tulips and the daffodils. The tulips will be a little bit taller. That's why I went ahead and put my odd number of clumps of tulips kind of at the back, and my swale of the daffodils is going to be going beside and in front of the tulips. Now they will probably be blooming at slightly different times in the spring. We'll see how that goes. But just in case they do overlap, I wanted to have that height differentiation so that you could see the daffodils and the tulips together. So now we are going to get to planting the bulbs. I was a little bit disappointed to find out that 2 of my apricot pride tulips bulbs had rotted. So I'm going to be contacting the place where I purchased these bulbs from. Hopefully I can get some replacements, but I'm not going to wait for that. I'm too excited to get all these bulbs in the ground. So let's get to planting. I did want to quickly share something in case someone has never planted tulip bulbs before. I'm no expert, but if you take a look at the bulb, and you can see here's the pointed end, and on the bottom here is more of like a flat end, and you can even see a little bit of roots almost. So you're going to want to plant your tulip bulbs with the point facing upwards. I am planting them about 6 centimeters deep and about 15 centimeters apart from one another. If you're going to be buying tulip bulbs, it's going to have those measurements probably on the bag that you're buying. But I'm not too picky about how I plant them. They seem to come up just fine. Just remember that this side is facing up. If you end up having it planted sideways or even upside down, it may still come up. It will just, the shoot will end up coming, it will start growing from the bottom and growing upwards that way. Not ideal. So try and make sure that you have your tulip bulbs planted with the pointy side up. As always, thanks so much for stopping by the garden, friends, and I'll see you in the next one.